We're going to look at one final application of the LoudMax, and this application is kind of the most experimental, but actually this trick has been around for a pretty long time. So if you remember back early on when I was talking about digital distortion and how you can push the level as much as you want, but that energy needs to be redistributed somewhere. And in the case of digital distortion, it's really harsh and you can really hear it and you notice it right away. Well, even though the LoudMax is still very transparent, the energy still has to be redistributed in some way. And so if you really push this thing hard, you'll be able to hear its saturation and distortion characteristics. But the nice thing about the LoudMax is those distortion characteristics tend to be very harmonic, meaning that they work really well for the sound that's being distorted. It's actually taking the information, the harmonic and frequency information within this sound, and then redistributing it in usually very pleasing ways. So this is the 808 sample from the 99 drum samples, and it will do just fine for this application. So if I listen to it, here it is. Right now, I've turned it down by 3. Let's turn it down by just 1. And we can see that we're peaking out here at minus 1.1. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put on our LoudMax again. And I'm going to start by putting this into link mode here. And I'm going to just drastically turn this down. And you're probably not going to hear anything. It's just going to be basically turning down the sound. So I'm putting it all the way to the bottom. And you can't really hear much of anything except for like an extra click, which is just some extra distortion that's going to go in there. But if I go and I add the tool to this, or I could use the Blue Cat gain, either way, and I bring this back up by, say, around 30, we can check and see where are we peaking out at here. 0.8, that's a little bit too much. Let's just bring this down some. You can hear that it's added all sorts of saturation and distortion characteristics into the original sound. And I don't even need the tool device for this. I can just go ahead and unlink this and turn the output up. And now with this off, and with it on, and we can look and see again, okay, maybe we're going out too hot here. Let's pull this back down to like -1 to make it fair. And off. And again, we're going to be peaking out at the same value or even possibly at a lower value. We could put at a lower value, but it's still going to sound a lot more powerful. All right. And then if we want, we can even go so far as to take a look at the difference by going in and grabbing our span plugin. So here it is with. And then without. So really watch those upper harmonics. And if this was digital distortion, you would just see random peaks going all over the place. For the most part, it's following the exact same shape and curve, just putting extra emphasis on some of these upper frequencies. And this is the way that mixing engineers for a long time would take like 808 sounds and get them to cut through on the smaller speaker systems. And it can still be used today, although it's not really as common. There's different tools for saturation that people might use, but it's still a classic effect, and you can try it on a lot of different signals and see what kind of distortion and saturation you get to the sound. Let's just end this by bouncing this out. And we can see the difference here by looking at the before and then looking at the after. So let's listen to the two of them one more time. Helps to turn off the LoudMax. And the after.